So why do you forage?
Why do I forage?
Yeah.
I think because I'm very aware of the energy content of food. And to me, anything that grows wild has got so much more energy in it than the stuff we produce. Even an organic field in our world is done as monoculture. So you've got lots of plants growing, or one type of plant growing and taking the same nutrients out of the soil. Whereas I think when things grow wild, whatever one plant takes out of the soil, the next one will put into the soil. So you never get that sense of depletion. So I always feel if we pick something that's grown wild, there is a lot more nutritional content in it. When we absorb more nutritional content, it also means we have to eat less. Like I find that, if you eat wild foods, there's a lot less you need and you'll feel full.
I agree. I've noticed
satisfied.
that. Noticed that. So.
Right, so this is usually a patch where I start picking probably along here. And yeah, so I will always look first and almost speak to the plants. As a shamanic practitioner, I do believe everything has got spirit. So plants have got a spirit just like we have, and I would never just go up and pick a plant without beforehand having a little communication, and it can happen in my head rather than talking out loud. Or sometimes I do if I'm on my own. And just explaining to the plant that, I'm picking it because we want to make a quiche or a dinner or a pesto or whatever we might want to do with the wild garlic. And then I'll go and almost ask them who is coming to volunteer to be made into food, and in essence maybe to be made human, because as we're eating it, the plant becomes us. And some plants, some leaves will actually, they will almost say, no, please leave me here, don't pick me. Or sometimes if it's hard to get it off, I will leave it, because to me that's almost a message of, no, that leaf is not ready to come. And then others will quite happily kind of go, yeah, I'll sacrifice myself for you. And you pick with gratitude, so I will always say thank you to the plants afterwards when I've picked. Another big thing in foraging is, never pick the first thing you see. Like if you're after wild garlic, never pick the first plant, because it might be the last on earth, if you like. So you make sure there is abundance before you take anything. Only take what you need, so don't ever take more than that. Because it's not just us using these plants, it's, the forest, it's the insects, it's the animals. So we've got to share, we're sharing this world with a lot of other creatures, and we should never just take for us. When I forage, another thing to just bear in mind is also, obviously, if you're walking somewhere like here, where people walk their dogs, just be a bit mindful. Like I tend to watch, you can usually see if animals or dogs have made a pathway in there. So I try and maybe not pick next to a tree where a dog might have peed against. So I kind of look and I go in a little bit. Try not to tread on too many. And then also, as I'm picking, I try not to pick too many leaves from one plant. So I will just take a couple of leaves and move on to the next one, so that I'm leaving enough strength in the one plant, even though I've taken the leaf, to replenish that. And the plant can deal with losing a couple of leaves, maybe even 3, depending on how strong the plant is. And then you move on to the next. So as you're foraging, you've got the plant's health and well-being in mind. So I will take a moment and just explain to them that, I'm picking them to put them into our food tonight. I was going to make a quiche, but if we don't have time for a quiche, we'll just do a stir fry and put them in, which might be quicker.
That sounds amazing.
I always also think whatever nature grows at any point is good for us. So it's spring now, so wild garlic is growing because this is actually a really good detox food for our body. Like I've got a cousin who is a herbalist in Germany, and she will always say in spring, do a wild garlic cure for a week, where you eat wild garlic every day for a week or even 2 weeks. And that will be good for your body as a detox in spring.
Awesome.
So it's that idea of looking what has nature got to offer at the moment. I feel a bit like, because I'm chatting, I'm not talking to the plants as much as I normally would do.
It's okay. I can always cut and stuff as well, so take moments when you need to.
As it goes later in the season, there is like a little fly that lays its eggs on the leaves of wild garlic. So again, in a couple of weeks probably, I look when I pick the leaves to make sure they are leaves that haven't had the fly eggs put on them. You can eat them anyway, but I don't want to destroy the next generation of flies, I suppose. I've kind of just taken a handful now, and there's loads here still, but I would probably then move on to the next patch. Look at that here. So you've got there'll be white flowers coming out in probably another week or so, couple of weeks. And with the flowers you can put them into oil and make sort of wild garlic, olive oil. We'll take 3 of that. There's quite a lot of leaves on this particular one, so you can take a few more leaves than 2 or 3, but never take too many. Right, we'll move on. I love this area because it's like a carpet. Like in another, it's only just starting now, but in another sort of couple of weeks it will just be totally carpeted.
There's so much of it.
Yeah. And it's that, it's the understanding as well of there is such abundance in the world if we know where to look.
What would you say to people who want to communicate more with plants? How do they?
I just have a chat with them in my head and just assume that given that they are energetic beings, we can communicate through, telepathically. And then I just trust that whatever drops into my head, it's the answer.
Yeah.
Is the plant speaking. And I've had it, I think when I really started believing that, when I think Josh had COVID and I was in the garden weeding, and one of the weeds that I was taking out said to me, "Your son needs me." And I was like, that is so weird. And it just kept repeating that one sentence. So in my head, I was weeding, and whenever I looked at that particular weed, it kept saying, "Your son needs me." So I thought, oh, this is really weird. So I've got an identification app on my phone. So I took a picture of the plant and then looked up what the medicinal properties of that particular plant were. And I think it was wood sorrel. And it was really high vitamin and immune system strengthening qualities that it had. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Because Josh was in bed ill with COVID. So I kind of just took the leaves and gave them to Josh. And they taste really lemony and actually quite nice.
Yeah.
So I just made him eat them. And then from then on, I started just paying a bit. I've always talked to plants. Even when I was a child, I used to spend time in the forest, and I would just have these conversations in my head with the plants, but thought it was my imagination kind of thing. And you might still say it's my imagination now. But I do believe now, knowing what I know as a medium and all these other, that there are entities and we can speak with everything. Yeah, so it's basically telepathically in your head. And you will think you're mad.
Yeah. And at times it's hard
and you're just going to have to believe you're not.
Yeah.
Or just go, well, I'm happy being mad.
The neurotic and the mystic swim in the same waters, don't they?
Yes. Oh, look at this. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it?
There's so much
Just
of it.
how much of it there is.
As far as you can see.
Yeah, and it goes all the way up there and round. It's just, I love this bit. Yeah, and I think there is something magical about actually picking your food.
Yeah, I agree.
When it's a gift of nature, picking it with gratitude, I think all the energy of that will be in the food you end up eating. So if you think that a plant has a spirit and feels, then I guess suddenly the whole idea of is the plant that is grown on a monoculture field with lots of fertilizer sprayed on it, a happy plant? So are you gonna, as you're eating it, absorb the energy of happiness and growth, or are you absorbing stress? So we've literally just taken a bunch now, and for this 4 of us eating tonight, and I'm gonna mix it with other vegetables, so we're not gonna need much more. Probably for pesto as well, a handful like that would be plenty. So you don't ever take more than you need, because there is abundance for all of us if we share. I think that's like the toilet paper lesson of COVID, wasn't it? Everybody was running in buying toilet paper, and there was a shortage when really there wouldn't have been a shortage if we had all just taken what we needed at that moment.
Yeah, literally. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've got broccoli, I've got a leek, I've got some beetroot, some courgette, some carrots, pepper and mushrooms. And we'll just see what we can create with those. So I get all my vegetables from Riverford, which is an organic vegetable box scheme, or not just vegetables, they do fruit, veggies, store cupboard stuff. I love how I guess I just trust them. So it was set up by a guy called Watson in the 80s, and now that he's retired, he's handed the company over to his employees and created a cooperative. And I just feel it's one of those few companies that you can trust. So I've been having my veg from them for the last probably 15 years, I would say. And to me, as a health and life coach, your health and well-being is so important. The food is not where we should start saving, because at the end of the day, you will pay it in the NHS bill when you get ill if you don't invest it in your food in the first place. So I prefer investing it here. So normally, just like I would connect to the plants in the forest, I would also connect to the veggies and kind of just give them a bit of gratitude for coming into my food. And I do believe that the energy of that thought will be in your cooking, and you can put a bit of love in, because you're feeding your family, and that love will then be in the food that your family eats. So as I'm doing this, I'm connecting to the carrot and saying thank you for growing, for absorbing the sunlight, the nutrients from the soil. You can even go and say thank you to the farmer, thank you to the lorry driver, the driver that got it to you, the people who might have sorted it in the warehouse and put it into the Riverford boxes. Just acknowledging how much effort it takes to get a carrot onto your plate. While that is cooking, I'm going to boil some water and do some buckwheat. The wild garlic I'm going to throw in at the end, because it's a bit like spinach. It won't take a long time to cook. So we can just go in at the end and it'll give it some flavor and just weave through the veggies. Buckwheat, superfood. It's not actually a wheat, so if people are gluten free or whatever, they don't have to worry about the word wheat in it. Literally, so I'm a Budwig consultant. Dr. Joanna Budwig was a German cell researcher, and she would always give her cancer patients buckwheat to eat because it helps the body to get rid of toxins. So even if, let's say, you're doing a chemotherapy, which obviously is a lot of toxins, the buckwheat will help you eliminate those from your system. So it's a really powerful food. To me, cooking is being creative. I'm not very good with following recipes. I kind of create my own every day. That tastes quite good, so I think I'm gonna now chuck the garlic in. Not sure what that is. Compost. And then all the veggie peelings will go in the compost. So what I love, so I don't eat a lot of meat, but to get my nutrients, I would then put nuts and seeds into my food. So I always have mixed nuts here. You might say they're quite expensive when you buy them, but if you compare to what you would spend on meat, I always think it probably isn't that expensive, so you just chuck in a few handfuls. This is cooked now, and I've taken it off the stove, and we'll just drizzle some Riverford organic olive oil, extra virgin olive oil over it. Yep. So instead of cooking in it, we're putting the olive oil in afterwards. So your body can absorb the vitamins with the oil, but you haven't cooked in the oil. That's it, and then we've got the buckwheat, which is now ready cooked. Put that in. Oh, probably not all of it. Let's see. I always, to get the nutrients I need, put on some pumpkin seeds and some sunflower seeds. And that will just go over the top. It'll give a bit of crunch and add lots of, obviously, oils and nutrients and protein and all those things. And voila, there is our wild garlic stir fry with buckwheat. Foraging made into food. Are you going to be the star of the show? Yes.